What'd you have for breakfast?
Coffee, straight out of the Keurig.
What's your favorite Keurig flavor?
I've been doing the Pete's French
Oh yeah.
roast
Okay.
with a little bit of sugar in the raw and a little bit of
Oh.
almond milk, and I'm golden.
Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
With that, welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I tricked you, and we were recording all of that, what you had for breakfast. So thanks for that. Anyway, today's guest is Stephen Erickson with Excel Auto Detailing and Coatings and Clear Bra in the Lompoc area of California. Stephen, welcome to the show.
It's about damn time.
It's funny. I'll share this story. Obviously, Stephen, you know this, but we talk often, and we're having a conversation. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to get you back on the podcast again, or something along those lines. And you're like, I've never been on the show, and I was like, come on, that's a lie. We've had you on the show before, and no, truth be told, you've never been on the show, even though we've had multiple conversations, hung out together, did an emblem removal together a long time ago. And so I'm happy to have you on the show. But enough about that. Why don't you, for people that don't know you as well as I know you, or at least as well as I think I know you, why don't you give us a little bit of background on your background into detailing and all that fun stuff?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who have never heard of me, maybe a handful that maybe have at one point. Kind of my background in detailing, it basically started out thanks to my grandpa, who I was pretty much raised by. He was pretty old school. He introduced me. I mean, we're talking, I was young, just old enough to start being a little slave around the house. So he had me pushing a lawnmower, waxing his cabinets. He had nice oak cabinets or whatever, but he always had semi-nice cars, and he introduced me to obviously washing cars, taking care of them. His go-to product was Meguiar's, of course. So I would always use Meguiar's cleaner wax by hand. Kind of how I got started. Doing some of his friends' cars, older folks that he knew. And it was just a way for me to make a little bit of money on the side, even as a kid. And then, I started doing all his friends' cars, and then my friends' cars, the neighbors' cars. And it was always just something that I kind of just did for extra money. I never really made a lot of money doing it. It was more of just like, sure, I could help you out, make your car shiny. It wasn't until probably like 2014, I was working for the local school district as just like a delivery driver, delivering a lot of random things. And I was going to one of the local community colleges for administration of justice. And I was convinced that I wanted to be a canine officer, a canine deputy. So I, at the time, had a cool German Shepherd that was trained. And so I thought it'd be really, really bitchin' to be canine deputy. So I was going through college courses, just barely sneaking by, paying bills. And a friend of mine was like, if you sold that truck that you're kind of getting tired of, you could probably use some of that money for savings, but you could also probably start a business of some sort, a little side hustle. So I did that. I sold the truck, put some money away, and I started a detailing business probably for like $2,000. I was pretty much set up with like a little trailer that I pulled around with another truck that I had.
Why, real quick, let me jump in. Sorry to interrupt, but why a detailing business? Was it because when you were doing it with your grandpa, you enjoyed it and you just thought, why not? Or did you did the idea of starting your own business or having your own business, did that thought ever exist, or were you kind of solely set on being this canine deputy?
I was pretty convinced that it'd be rad to be a deputy. but I decided to start the detailing business anyways, kind of like a side hustle, right? It was kind of terrifying, the idea of starting a business without doing it legitimately. But I just went for it anyways. The best way to do things is just, you got to kind of dive in at one point, because you could spend forever getting ready for anything.
Agreed.
But the person that I recommended I start a business was a neighbor and a friend who I've actually detailed a couple vehicles for. And so he was obviously impressed enough that that he would recommend that I start a business in car care and washing and waxing vehicles. So it started out pretty simple. I quickly fell victim to a lot of marketing hype, product hype. I won't say any names. I'll try my best not to say any product manufacturer names.
You can call people out, or not even call them out. But I mean, I don't care, unless you don't feel comfortable personally. But I don't mind name dropping and stuff like that.
I might drop some names of people or products at one point.
There you go.
But it's not going to be my intention. So
no pressure.
So I quickly started becoming ultra familiar with YouTube and who the car detailing industry influencers are that are on YouTube.
What year is this? What year are we talking?
It's probably like 2015.
Okay.
And so I have to thank a lot of those guys, whether we get along with them or not, I just try to form my own opinions of people instead of
100%.
Jumping on the bandwagon or whatnot, basing your opinion off somebody from their reputation or whatever. But I watched basically anybody and everybody that was making detailing related videos on YouTube. And that's where I learned a lot of tricks. I mean, Kevin Brown, actually, like, I talk with this guy quite frequently, and it's funny, I never thought I'd ever meet him, but we just kind of happened to live nearby each other. And so I've learned a lot of tricks from his past videos on YouTube, and I still learn a lot from him from this day, as far as like the paint correction and damp sanding aspect goes. So, I just started hitting up all these YouTube videos, and I thought I needed a million different products, how that goes. And I just wanted to get really good. I just wanted to be the best that I could possibly be without, necessarily going into debt or anything like that. Fast forward, a few years, I'm doing a lot bigger ticket items, like lots of all-in-one type paint correction processes. I wasn't selling them as high-end paint corrections, but we were using mostly all-in-one creams and paint sealants and getting great results at a really affordable cost.
So I want to jump in for a second, because I think you potentially missed some gold there that is easy to gloss over. So you go from this idea of wanting to, or getting the idea from a friend to start this business, to doing high ticket items. That gap in between that, what did you do? Like, after you're like, okay, I'm going to start a detailing business, you're watching these YouTube videos from a new business owner with, I'm assuming, no past history of owning a business, right?
No, I've never owned a business or operated one.
So what were some things that you did that either worked or didn't work in the beginning or did it just happen to be where you lived and how it worked out that it just happened? But what was that like, to go from this idea and working a normal job and having a set career path that's completely different to like getting the first initial clients and then elevating up to, these higher ticket items? What were some things that you did in that time frame? Or did it just come? Was it just word of mouth, and it was like that one friend that had the idea was like, okay, Steven started his detailing business, and then he knew a bunch of people, and it just kind of started rolling in? Or like, how did that work, transitioning out of that job, stuff like that?
Well, when I first started the business, even in like 2015, I'm pretty sure at that point I'd still worked for somebody, but it got to the point where I was too busy with my business to go to work for anybody else. And even when I wasn't being a technician, there was things that I needed to work on in my business to keep a handle on things. But a lot of it was word of mouth in the beginning. I thought at one point too, I guess I'll bring this up now since we're kind of rewinding a bit, but at one point I thought I had a pretty good opportunity to work in the oil and gas industry in Texas because I have a lot of different skill sets. So I went to Texas and I tried that opportunity and I went through the probationary period. And then, while working there, I realized that wasn't the opportunity that I thought it was. And I guess I'll drop a name of a company real quick that kind of changed my mind about things. But I was in Houston, Texas, working for this company in the oil and gas industry, always oily, always dirty, welding, grinding, fabricating, wrenching, all that good stuff. Wasn't really working out. And I decided to take a weekend and go try to visit some local detailing facilities that I thought, I looked for the ones that had good reviews. I found this company in Houston called Vive. I think they've changed their names a few times since, but I know that it's like VIVE, probably like auto detailing or car care or something like that now. But I went and talked to the owner of that place, and he was like, "Man, I can't believe you came to Texas when you had a detailing business in California." I was like, "Yeah, I know." So he kind of talked me into going back to California and giving it another shot and just hitting it hard. And first thing I did when I got back to California was pay somebody who built WordPress websites. I paid like $1,200 for this guy to get started on a website, make it functional with some search engine optimization. And then I also requested that he kind of teach me a few things so that I could maintain it and make changes as needed. So I did that. The website is autodetailingexcellence.com. Kind of chose that URL because it kind of works along with some of my taglines. Since my business is called Excel Auto Detailing, Ceramic Coating, and Clear Bra now, I wanted to integrate Excel somewhere. So I just said, one of my taglines is the difference is excellence. So I chose autodetailingexcellence.com for the URL and have made a lot of changes. It's still one of those ongoing processes of dialing it in, tweaking the search engine optimization and marketing tactics and stuff like that. But that's kind of one of those golden things that I had done in the transition period where your business is growing up and you're starting to get bigger ticket items and offer different services.
And you've continued to do that, right? And evolve and do things. And that's why your company name has kind of shifted over the past year or so, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what
another big thing I did, and this is a plug-in for you potentially, another big thing that I did at one point, growing my business and evolving, I reached out to you for whatever reason. We kind of got to know each other a little bit. And then you mentioned the Detailers Marketing Bootcamp, and I jumped on that. And if any of you are listening and went through it, you know what I mean. It was very helpful. If you haven't gone through it, you should, or go through something like it, because basically what I learned at the Detailers Marketing Bootcamp was that I probably enjoy marketing and sales of my business now than I do actually the technical work. So I have a lot of fun and I enjoy every bit of time that I spend marketing and selling in my business to get more customers, which I think is a really crucial aspect of owning a business.
Isn't that interesting? And we've had a lot of those conversations about SEO and stuff like that in the past, but it's almost, we get lured into this industry because we like cleaning cars, right? But I think
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, it stops there of like, well, I just like cleaning cars. And so like, that's good enough for me. But the problem is that gets super old after years of doing it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
this, and years of stagnant, I was going to say stagnantly. I don't think that's a word, but not really any growth, right? And just kind of the day in day out monotony of car cleaning, which it does get to, And so the
Mm-hmm.
marketing aspect of things really helps, in my opinion, kind of rejuvenate that love for car cleaning through marketing, because you get to try different techniques and different things to get different clientele to clean their car, right? And I do think it's
Mm-hmm.
becoming a little bit more prevalent, but has really been a really underserved side of the detailing industry for a long time, is the business aspect of it, right? We've had this hyper focus
Mm-hmm.
on the techniques of detailing, which is crucial, but it really is only one aspect of it, right? And the other aspect is actually
Mm-hmm.
running a business. So and you've done a really good job, I think, in elevating your business and continually trying to understand these marketing techniques, but also evolve your business into something bigger, And I think you've done that most
Mm-hmm.
recently in doing some clear bra training, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the decision process in like what was the decision process in that to to start integrating ClearBra or wanting to integrate ClearBra? Was it in a move to get away from detailing? Was it in a move to just add additional services? Did you have customers asking for it? Like what was, because I know you actually went back to Texas, right? Which is kind of ironic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but went back for some training there. But what was that? What was kind of the thought process behind going and doing that? Because I know a lot of guys are interested, if they're not already incorporating it into their business. They're interested in it, and I've even seen a lot of guys that were only detailing, and now I see their shop is like. It's like clear bra, vinyl, window tint. Oh yeah, and sometimes we do car detailing too.
Yeah. Well, I want to circle back real quick and touch on the SEO and marketing stuff real quick, because anybody listening that's not doing that, I think, when you're figuring out marketing and coming up with sales strategies, and maybe you're dabbling with some SEO too, it's like a huge confidence booster, I think, because you're basically, when it comes to your marketing, you're basically studying yourself and your local market, and you really start to figure out who you are. You gain a lot of confidence. So like when you're always working on your marketing and SEO and sales tactics, you gain a lot of confidence, I feel like. So it's a lot easier for you to name your price after you've been studying yourself and your local market and everything. At least that was the experience that I had.
Explain. I think that's
Um,
really interesting, and I've never heard you say that before. Can you explain that? I think you're right, but can you explain that out a little bit more? Because I like that point.
well, if you're marketing your business and you're trying to find ways, your unique value proposition, um, and what you offer and why it's better. I mean, you're in your mind, you're coming up with all these reasons why you, why your business, why your services, why your products, and then a customer contacts you. I mean, it just seems to go so smooth when you know why every aspect of your business.
Mm.
You basically studied yourself. Like you just brought a lot of value to the customer because you know everything about your business inside and out.
It becomes
I don't
second
know. That
nature
was just,
to know. No, I think it's a great point because you really understand the value that you bring to the table.
yeah. I mean, if somebody else is doing your marketing, that's fabulous, but you should definitely be involved in it too, so what they're pushing. Um, I don't know. I think it's a really good idea to be a part of your marketing tactics.
Agreed.
That way it just doesn't get out of control. But going back to why I decided to really ramp up things and offer ceramic coatings and paint protection film, that's because I feel like waxes and sealants just suck. Sure, they've gotten really good. They've gotten a lot better, but there's sealant manufacturers that say that they last a year, but I've never seen a sealant last a year or offer the amount of durable protection I want. So that I want or that I want for my customers. So I just decided to step things up and push more of the ceramic coatings and paint protection film because that's as good as it gets as far as I know. And I'm in the business of protecting some really nice vehicles. Not always, we don't do exotics or anything like that on a regular basis, but we do a lot of, nice vehicles. Even, a Toyota 4Runner these days is like an expensive vehicle.
Yeah, it's $40,000 easy at least.
Yeah, so I mean, if the customer values what they have, we'll pretty much paint correct and coat and clear bra anything, as long as they like their vehicle, we'll go ahead and do that for them. But that's kind of why I decided to keep stepping things up, and I've gotten to where I'm at now with being Excel auto detailing, ceramic coating, and clear bra. Because we just want to offer the best forms of protection for people.
Gotcha. So you're part of your, which in turn adds another value, right, to your service.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. So, and you decided to go out and get training for that. How did that training go? What did that look like? And then coming home from that training, what kind of are your takeaways? Would you suggest other detailers that are thinking about that? Like, as the kind of coating front, I think gets more saturated and is going to transition into more of a maintenance, where the maintenance is going to be more profitable than the coating installation itself. Would you suggest, and maybe this was part of your thought process, maybe it wasn't, but like, the clear bra front is kind of the next frontier after coatings kind of fizzle out a little bit?
Yeah. It's tough to say what exactly is going to happen with these products. I think that ceramic coatings are definitely improving, and clear bra is too. The tricky part is getting it to the point where they're so simple to apply that you'll be able to offer them at a more cost-effective rate. Like paint protection film isn't easy to apply. I mean, once you get the hang of it, sure, once you've done a lot of installs, but initially going into it, it's pretty frustrating. I went through the Ceramic Pro training in San Diego at 5 Point Auto Spa, and that was pretty easy because I'd already done some ceramic coating installations, so that was kind of a no-brainer. I was more interested in learning how the shop itself operates because I like efficiency and profitability, of course. So I was interested in how they do things there. But when I went to San Antonio, Texas, to the Expel training facility, which I recommend, the trainer, Ryan Hanna, I believe his name is, was like, you guys are going to go back to your hotels and you're going to have nightmares about installing film. You're just going to be so anxious to learn, and you're going to be under so much pressure to pass this course in 3 or 4 days that it's just going to be sort of overwhelming if you never had any previous experience. Sure enough, like, I'm pretty sure I had dreams about installing paint protection film every single night that I was there, and I definitely didn't come natural to me. I don't think it comes natural to a lot of people unless they've had some sort of film experience. Wraps or tints or some PPF experience, but that could be why, circling back to your point earlier about how many shops transition from detailing to just ceramic coatings and clear bra. That could be why shops tend to focus on paint protection film and ceramic coatings a lot too, because those two particular services require a lot of attention. Obviously, they're a lot more profitable and a little bit less work, but to be good at installing paint protection film, you have to do it a lot. So you may decide, like I've decided, okay, I don't want to detail nearly as much right now. I want to focus on clear bra, and I want to focus on ceramic coatings. So that's kind of where I'm headed right now.
And so what do you do with your regulars, or with your, are you still doing your regular detailing clients and just not really taking on new clients, or are you scaling back even on your existing clients to take more time with the clear bra, or what does that look like from a practical standpoint?
I used to offer excellent maintenance services. It was basically a routine maintenance service every month, and we didn't make the hourly rate that we usually want to when we're detailing, but it was still very, very fair and a good profitable service, but not ideal, not something I wanted to continue doing myself. But we basically have had to slowly weed out our maintenance services. We just stopped offering it, but we're still taking care of some of our regular clients that have cars that they really truly care about. And then some of our lower end services, like we've offered sport details for a long time, which are kind of simple wash, clay, wax type services. Trying to avoid doing those unless it's a pre-sale detail, because that tells me that this person is private party selling a vehicle or trading it in. So that's an opportunity to get their new vehicle in for a new vehicle preservation service, which would include generally ceramic coating and or paint protection film on the front.
Love that idea. Love that idea.
So, we'll still do like a pre-sale detail with that in mind, with getting that new vehicle in for a preservation service. But we've come up with like a completely different menu of different service options. So there's been some pretty drastic changes in the types of services we offer.
So do you see then your business kind of transitioning out of, well, I guess you already are with the transition and kind of the name change a little bit, but you see a path to fully transitioning out of like interior detailing and stuff like that, and strictly focusing on just clear bra and clear film, and kind of eventually getting completely out of detailing, or just kind of staying at that coating and clear bra?
I definitely do now turn down some interior details. We've always charged a pretty heavy amount for all of our services, especially some interior detailing, but I don't know how other guys do it, but we take a long time to do an interior. It's not that we're inefficient, we're just very thorough, So I'm not really doing your traditional car interior cleaning and detailing anymore. I'm kind of thinking, it's funny you mention it, I'm kind of thinking about maybe taking some of my interior detailing things off my website, unless it's a new vehicle preservation service and they won't want to do like an interior coating. But I'm not fully convinced on getting rid of interior detailing altogether, but I am be spending time on.
So do you see this happening? This is kind of happening to me right now, and it's kind of weird because of, I've been doing this 10 years, and I started out from a place of having to, or like being desperate for work, and then now being kind of in a place where I'm not as desperate for work, which it kind of sounds like you're in that position as well. Do you see your business actually getting busier and the demand for your service getting more, and then being able to even charge more of a premium for your services because you're like, weirdly enough, like not that you don't want the work, but you just want a different type of work so that like, I don't know. It's like this weird thing happening with me, and it kind of sounds like it may be happening with you too, or maybe it always has been that way for you. But it seems like the less I want the work, the more of it I get, but then the more I could charge of it. And I've never been in that position before, so it's extremely awkward for me. But is that same thing happening to you as you cut down on the amount of services you offer? Do you actually see the demand for your business growing?
Yeah, I mean, not to be snobby about what we work on or anything,
Right,
but
and
like,
not to be a dick, straight up, like, not to be an ass. I would have killed to be in this position, and that's why I think I struggle with it so much, because I remember
I don't think it's like a snobby thing or like us being dicks or any of us being dicks about turning down certain jobs, but I think it's because we all have our eye on the prize. Like, we all want to get better at a certain type of service. And if we're stuck doing services that we don't necessarily want to do,
100%,
then it's going to take us longer to become experts at that one thing. And for me, that's like paint protection film and ceramic coatings. Like, I can't wait for the first full paint protection film wrap on a car. That's a big, big, big ticket thing. And I don't want it to be mediocre. I want it to be as good as I could possibly make it. So
right.
If I'm stuck doing a bunch of interior details on PT Cruisers or minivans or whatever it is,
totally.
Like,
and I think I think one thing that a lot of people struggle with that is the opportunity cost, right? And I was trying to tell actually my dad about this one time is, if I'm stuck doing that PT Cruiser, I can't do a podcast, I can't do a video, I can't do all these other things. So yeah, the cash may be great right now, right? That few $100s for the interior detailer on the PT Cruiser, interior detail on the PT Cruiser, but how much money am I actually losing out on in opportunity cost by not honing, in your case, your skill for clear bra, right? You may actually be losing thousands of dollars by taking on that job, and it's kind of a weird, not a weird, but a different way of thinking, but it actually makes total sense when you start thinking about it,
Well, also, if you're a business owner and a technician and you don't have any help answering the phones or doing sales or anything like that, and you're doing an interior on something you don't necessarily want to be working on, and you get a call and you decide to put your headset in, take the call, you have to transition really quickly into sales mode. And, I think we all can agree that, we've probably not been in the best mood when we answered a phone call at one point. We're in the right mood to sell yourself on a coating or paint protection film. So it's like, you got to you got to come up with a pretty good balance and everything. And for me at this point, I would rather spend more time answering the phone in the mindset that I need to be in to sell paint protection film jobs and coating jobs than slaving away on a minivan interior.
100%. Is there anything else you want to add to this conversation, Steven? Or do you think we hit it pretty good? Let's hear it.
Yeah. Do minivan interiors. When you're starting out, if you could get good
glad you said that.
detailing the interior of a minivan, I mean, you can detail the interior of anything.
And I feel like that's where you can learn. You start to. You mentioned earlier how you learned a lot of tips and tricks from YouTube. I think alongside of that, when you have a thrash minivan, you're almost forced into trying some unconventional things to make it go quicker and come out better. And so I know, because I cut my teeth on that kind of stuff, right? So I remember like, oh, let me just try this. I mean, I'm not going to make it any worse than it already is. I might as well try this. Your margin for error can be a little bit greater too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say on behalf of a lot of people, don't be afraid to necessarily have hacks. Just because you have hacks doesn't mean you are a hack. You'd be surprised how many of the high-end business owners and technicians that I've talked to that all have hacks. And sometimes, you know, you just have to be adaptable in different situations. And so, you know, I mean, those guys that are really OCD about how they have to follow the system. I mean, that's got to be rough.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, we all want to make that hourly rate that's in the back of our head,
Right.
you know, to either pay ourselves, pay the business, pay your staff, whatnot. I mean, you should definitely have a way of dumbing things down a bit so that you could still get good results in a reasonable amount of time.
Agreed. What else you got?
I would say I want to give a shout out to probably a couple people, but one guy I've been meaning to give a shout out to is Kevin Davis with the Detailer's Helper Belt.
I know him.
I came across that guy's cool, right? I don't see him in videos much anymore.
I think he has a standing record on this podcast for being the guest with the most appearances. He's even wiggled his way in, like last year at SEMA. He wiggled his way into the interview in the Roops booth just to get on the show one more time. Only teasing.
Yeah.
No, he's a great guy.
Well, I want to give a shout out to him because actually the Detailer's Helper Belt is pretty bitchin'. It may be uncomfortable for some people to wear in the beginning, but I like to be effective and efficient, and having things on my side in a lot of situations is really helpful, and just it takes the frustration out a lot. And then in some of his older YouTube videos, he made some recommendations on books, and I'm a big fan of audibles. You know, if I have to be a technician and I'm going to be working on something, I'm probably going to have my headset in and I'm going to be listening to an audible. And Kevin Davis recommended the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz or something like that. And that's been a pretty good book. And, you know, I've read a lot or listened to a lot of other books, and I don't really play favorites. I just take the information that I find interesting and helpful to my life, and I just apply bits and pieces from everybody's different strategies. So that one, I remember listening to Profit First one time working on a Jeep, and I had heard something that was really important and figured out I was doing things a bit wrong with my business budgets and stuff like that. And I literally wanted to stop what I was doing, go throw up, pack up my stuff, and just go home and think about everything, because it was like a big kick in the stomach, you know. It's like, ugh. So I don't know. I mean, if you guys are listening to music while you detail, that's awesome. I do that from time to time. But you know, if you're working, you got your headset in, you might as well get some information from some of these experts that have written books.
It's crazy. I was talking with this guy who was complaining to me. He runs a business, and he was complaining to me that he has no time to like read audiobooks or listen to podcasts and stuff like that because he's so busy, right? And I was like, that's cool. What you and I was just talking to him. I'm like, what? So I knew he drove from like his house to this place where we had met at. And I'm like, so what'd you do on the way over here from your house? It was about 25 minute drive from his house. He goes, oh, I just listen to music. I'm like, you realize, granted, I know you don't have to work or be consuming like content every second of every day, but it's like, you realize that even if you did that drive once a week, that's almost an hour that you could be listening to like something to help you with your business. You know what I mean? Or life in general, really. And he's like, yeah, but I like music, or he didn't really get it, you know? And I'm like, that, like how we're always driving somewhere, right? It's like automobile university. Just you don't have to do it every time. And sometimes it can be too much where you just do want to listen to music. But I think we underestimate how much lag time we actually have in a given day, you know? And we cover it with like, I'm too busy.
Yeah, if you're driving with your girlfriend or wife or whoever, and you want to get some content, I mean, play something that you think that the both of you will like, if you have to.
Totally.
I mean, my girlfriend hates audible books and all that stuff.
Right,
but I'm
right,
like,
right.
I don't know. I'm like, there's some good stuff in here, babe.
You should try listening to this.
Yeah. Or we could just listen to the auto detailing podcast with
Hey,
Jimbo
I mean,
Balaam.
that's the best idea, right? I'm just saying. I've never heard a better idea come
I
on
even
the show.
I even put my Jimbo Balaam hat on for this podcast.
For this podcast, and I didn't even do video,
Yeah.
but you probably had better thoughts because of that hat. So just saying.
Yeah, I had my thinking cap on.
Right on. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that? Or would you just prefer they go to your website? Or I heard you want a bunch of random friend requests on Facebook, so we can make that happen if you want.
I wouldn't go to my website. I mean, there's nothing really that good on there for, detailers. It's mostly for consumers or potential customers. But, like, I have an Instagram page. It's my personal one. That one would be probably pretty cool to follow me on. It's called like Speed Scholar. I think it's Speed_Scholar. It's the name because I ride mountain bikes, I surf, skate. I have a Mustang that I like to slide around and have fun in. That's going to be probably one of the better ways to follow me and connect with me. Other than that, like my personal Facebook page probably wouldn't be that appropriate, but hit me up on Instagram, Speed_Scholar. That'd be cool. And if you have any questions about business-related things or products or anything, you can email me at Steve, Steve, at autodetailingexcellence.com, and I'll do my best to reply and answer any questions you may have.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you finally coming on the show.
My pleasure.